Hello, here is a quick guide on how to get into projection mapping. It's pretty simple. Obviously, the first thing you'll do is set up your projector. When you plug it into your computer, it may reflect your main screen. So it would look like this. You don't want it to be mirroring your screen. Instead, you want it to be another monitor. And so to set it like that, you can go into your settings, display, and then I've already set it as my third monitor. Once you have your projector set as your secondary monitor, you will open Adobe After Effects. That's this program I have here. This is what the layout should look like. This is where you will import your videos or your pictures, and then you will be able to do what's called masking to reshape them. So you'll see how this is a pretty weird shape right now. This is a projection I made for our Macbeth production. So we had a big moon right here, and then we had a big crown-like set. And so this is one where it's leaves on a tree, and this is what it looks like when it's being projected. And you'll notice that my projector is a little too high and also not the right shape, but you can see how it would affect the set. So after you've plugged into your projector, you need to have it mirror this preview. So you'll go into here, press Edit, Preferences, Video Preview, and then you'll see here, it'll list all of your monitors. So mine, so the projector is set up as my third monitor. So I'll click the little check mark and press OK. And now you can see the preview of it instead of just my background. To get you started on how to make something like this, or shape it to however you want the set to look like, you'll go over here into the blank space and press New Composition. There's only three main aspects you want to pay attention to here. You want to name it something that makes sense to you. So if it's just scene number or whatever you're going to display, whatever just makes sense to you. And then you want to pay attention to the width and the height. Your projectors are actually not a regular screen size. So normal screens are 1920 by 1080 or something like that. The projectors in the theater, one of them is 1920 by 1200, and then the other one is something like 1400 by something. So it's really important that you get that correct. And then the last thing is to make sure the resolution is at full. So then press OK, and that will create a blank composition. Obviously, it's not going to show anything because there's no media in it. So you can open up your files, and you can say, let's say that this forest path is going to be our background, and you can see it on the projection. Just so you know, if the projector just looks like your home or your background and it's not displaying your preview, it's likely just because you're not selected into Adobe, the program. So just click back into it and you usually can see it. So how do we make it so that it fits the shape? You'll do something called masking. When you come in here, click on your media, and then click up here on the pen tab. You can also just press the hotkey G, and it'll switch to the pen. It should change the cursor to look like the tip of a pen, as well, and have this little box with a dot on it. And then when you start clicking, it'll create these little boxes that are called vertices. And so you'll drag it all around and now you've got a shape. Once you close the loop, you've got a shape. If you didn't put enough vertices in, you can press along the lines and the box will turn into a little plus. And so now you can add extra vertices. So if you had something like this and it was too octagonal, and so you wanted more vertices to make it like a circle, then you could do that. Just so you know, if your media isn't selected when you do this, and you click on the pen tab, it will show a star instead of the box, and that means that it is going to draw a shape instead of a mask. So if you ever get confused about that, that's what's going on. All right, so let's mask this kind of to what our set is. Something kind of like that. So when you look onto the projector, this is what it looks like. So it's still too tall. So we can come in here and we can move these vertices. If you click on just a singular one, you can move it now. And so I've lowered it. And now it's within the box. But it's too short, so I'm going to widen it. And then over here, you'll notice that, see how it starts bleeding over? Because the camera is at an angle, you can see when it bleeds over. But if you're looking head on, it looks like it's perfectly in line. So it's important to look at your projection from multiple angles to get up and move around the space so that you can make sure that it's perfectly on the set. And it's okay if it goes off the composition a little bit. If you need to see or need to grab this vertice that's below the composition, you can just scroll wheel, or you can use this little tab to zoom in or zoom out. So now so that's a pretty funny shape, right? But how does it look on the projector? It's not perfect, but it's a pretty good outline of our background, as well as making sure that it's not on the bowl and the box. So now that we have that, let's put something in this blank space. You can have multiple videos or pictures in one area. So let's say this will go on the bowl. So that's a pretty wild thing. That's a pretty wild video. And then even before you start masking, you can resize it by clicking on these corners. And then to make it so that it doesn't squash or stretch, you can hold the Shift key and it'll stay the same ratio. You can also go over here into this tab and click on one of the numbers for scale, click and hold, and slide your mouse left or right. Left to make it smaller, right to make it bigger. Or you can just click on it and change the number. It's kind of hard to see. And it's a small box. If the box is too small, you can go right on the borderline and stretch it over so you can see whatever you need to better. So make it small enough that it's about the size of this bowl here, maybe slightly bigger, and then media selected, pen tool, just gonna go quick and dirty around this circle. And now on our projector, we you can see that now this little pattern has filled that bowl. So on the box, I don't have any very good sturdy structures. So if you need some footage, there's plenty of free videos online. Obviously, you could rip something from YouTube, but I prefer to get like professional quality videos from other websites. So this is called Pexels. It's a pretty good website to find high quality footage and videos. So if I wanted a building, you can also find photos. I'll use this to demonstrate. You can use a photo instead of a regular, instead of a video as well. So let's pretend like that box is actually a triangle. Then insert it into our composition. And then it's, so you'll see that you can't actually see any of the corner pieces or anything. That's because it's a very big picture compared to the regular composition. So you have to scroll and zoom out, and then press that and shrink it. And now it's too small, so you zoom in. In order to move this around, if you're like up here, press and hold space, you'll get a little grab hand, and you'll move over. You can also go over and click on the grab hand tool or hotkey it with H, but holding space is a little bit easier. So I'll align it with where the box is, scale it up a little bit because we're going to now mask it. So make sure it's selected, pen tool. And if, so it's in front of the portal, you can go down here and click and drag it down so that it's behind it now. Let's say I like that. I like the building, I like the shape, but it obviously needs to fill the space. Well, you can just keep sizing it up. And if you want to select multiple vertices at once, you can press one and then hold shift and press the next, and you'll see they fill in solid and they both move now at the same time. If you ever make too many vertices, you can go in and click and or press and hold the Alt key, and you'll see it creates a little minus indicator. If you create too many vertices, as you can kind of see here, I don't really need these ones. So if you ever do that, you can go back to the pen tool and then hold Alt, and it'll make it these lines, so an empty one, and that'll subtract vertices. If you ever have too many vertices, you can go back up to the pen tool or hit G, and then over here, instead of having a plus sign, if you hold Control and click on one, it will make them. And now we can look at our composition on the projector, and now it's an interesting portal on top of the forest on top of a building. So you'll notice that over here, this will show you that these videos are longer than this one. So either you need to extend this video or you need to shorten these ones. And how you do that is to shorten, you can go into composition settings, and then change the duration. So it says this one is only 10 seconds. So you would press that, press OK, and now it fills the whole thing. Or I can change this, right click on it, and then change the time and say time stretch. That's slowing it down. And so stretch factor, you could say 150. So now the new duration will be 15 seconds. Still not as much as we need. So instead I could do 200, and now it'll be 20 seconds, which is more than what we need. So good. You need to export it. And so you'll press File, Export, and then Add to Render Queue. And so here, you'll get a bunch of settings. You'll want it to be set to the best settings, and then match. And then you'll have to specifically tell your computer where you want to put it. So I'll just put it in Downloads, Scene 1, Save, and then you press Render. And it'll show the progress of it, going frame by frame. Now that that's exported, we can now see it here in our downloads, and we have it playing right here. Now, if we move that video alone over to the projector, it's not the correct size, it's not the correct shape, or anything like that. When you load it into QLab, though, it will be the right size, and it will be the right shape, because it won't be trying to load these top bars or fit to the screen or anything like that. It will just be the correct size. And even with the video, it is still mostly like the correct size, but just remember it's not, the video alone is not the complete product. You have to load it into QLab, and then from QLab you can actually have it auto transition and stuff. There's a whole online video guide for that. I can't do it here because my laptop is not a Mac, so I'll just leave the URL on this video and you can go and search it up yourself. Hopefully this has been a decent guide and introduction into how to make projections. Once you're done with your first projection, you can then go in and create more, new scene, whatever you need. Lots of adjustments you can make. At that point, after this, other tutorials will be your best friend.